All right, today we are going to break down a really powerful system from Spencer Combs called the Unshakable Path. It's designed specifically for high-level business owners, and it's all about integrating your own personal growth with your business strategy to build something that's, well, truly resilient. We're going to cover the whole thing from your inner foundation right up to a concrete 11-step plan. So if you're ready to go from just being successful to being truly unshakable, let's jump in.
So look, you've obviously put in the hours. You've built something successful. Maybe you're pulling in $250K a year, maybe more. But you know there's a huge difference between a business that's doing well right now and one that's genuinely unshakable, right? So many leaders get to this point, they hit a plateau, and the old hustle just doesn't cut it anymore. What they're looking for is a true operating system that connects who they are with what they do. Something that drives not just profit, but purpose. If that sounds like you, then you are in exactly the right place.
Here's the roadmap for today. We'll kick things off with the big idea behind the Unshakable Path. Then, we're going to build this thing from the inside out, starting with what's called the CORE foundation. From there, we'll talk about how to create real momentum, how to channel it into 5 key areas of mastery, and then we get to the brass tacks, the 11-step business blueprint, and it all leads to your next big breakthrough.
Okay, let's dive in. The Unshakable Path is not just another list of business hacks. You really need to think of it like a complete operating system for you and your company. It's all built on one core belief. You cannot separate the leader from the business. It's impossible. So, to build an unshakable company, you've got to first build an unshakable self. This journey is all about weaving that personal mastery directly into your business strategy.
And everything, and I mean everything, starts right here with COR. This is your personal foundation. This is the inner work that is absolutely non-negotiable if you want to build a resilient, high-growth business. Think about it. If your own foundation is shaky, any structure you build on top is going to be fragile. This is about mastering your inner game so you can go out and win the outer.
So the COR process has 7 key pillars. We're going to walk through each one. It starts with understanding what you can actually control. Then, getting real about your personal composition, gaining crystal clarity on what truly drives you, and then actively conditioning your mind for success. After that, it's about making sure you're in alignment through congruence, breaking down huge goals with chunking, and finally, managing your energy through cycling. Let's start at the top.
First up is control. And listen, this is a big one. We waste so much energy trying to control things we just can't. The market, other people, you name it. The big idea from Spencer Combs is that real control, the only control that actually matters, is over your own decisions. It's not about trying to manipulate the world around you, it's about mastering the world inside you.
And that self-mastery really boils down to these 3 decisions you're making every single moment. First, the decision of framing. What's the story you tell yourself when something happens? That story, that meaning you assign, literally creates your experience. Second is the decision of action, or your physiology. How you hold your body, how you breathe, it directly impacts your emotional state. Try slumping over and feeling powerful. You can't. And third, the decision of focus. It's simple. Whatever you focus on, you feel. Focus on the obstacles, you feel stuck. Focus on the opportunity, you feel empowered. These 3 decisions are creating your reality.
Okay, so once you start mastering your decisions, the next step is composition. This is all about taking a completely honest inventory of who you are. Before you can build anything great, you have to know what materials you're working with, right? What are your natural strengths, your default patterns, your hidden resources? This isn't about judging yourself. It's a reality check. Because authentic living is the only starting point for empowered living.
So how do you get that clear picture of yourself? Well, there are a ton of great tools out there. Things like the Enneagram can show you your deepest motivations. Behavioral assessments like DISC or Myers-Briggs can highlight your natural tendencies in communication and action. Even just knowing if you're a visual, auditory, or kinesthetic learner can be a game changer. The key here isn't to put yourself in a box, but to get the data you need to play to your strength.
And this brings us to a huge distinction. Understanding the difference between your goals and your real motivators. This is clarity. So many of us are chasing what Combs calls means goals. You know, the revenue target, the new car, paying off the debt. But those are just the vehicles. The real destination, the end goal, is the emotional state we think that thing will give us. And getting clear on that why is what unlocks incredible power.
And this table just lays it out perfectly. Look at this. The goal isn't really to make $25,000. The goal is the feeling of being resourceful. The goal isn't to be debt-free. It's the feeling of total freedom. You're not starting a nonprofit just to do it. You're doing it for a feeling of contribution. See how that works? When you connect your tangible, everyday goals to these deep emotional drivers, your motivation becomes practically unbreakable.
Okay, so once you have that clarity, the next logical step is conditioning. Your brain, for better or worse, is like a computer that's been programmed for years, by specific events, by sheer repetition, and by the people you grew up watching. Now, some of that programming is great, but let's be honest, a lot of it is probably holding you back. The incredible news is this: you can be the programmer. You can proactively recondition your own mind for success.
And there are two main ways to do this. First, there's internal modeling. This is about using the power of your own mind. When you visualize something with enough intensity and emotion, your nervous system literally can't tell the difference between that and the real thing. It's a rehearsal for success. Then you have external modeling. This is about consciously choosing what you feed your brain: the books, the podcasts, the people in your mastermind group. You're shaping your mindset from the outside in. You need both.
This leads us right into a critical idea: congruence. This is all about alignment. It's about how much harmony there is between your inner world, your beliefs, your values, and your outer world, your actions and results. You know that feeling of self-sabotage, or being stuck? That's almost always a sign of incongruence. One part of you is hitting the gas and another part is slamming on the brakes. It's the single biggest chokehold on success.
So how do you fix that lack of alignment? You use this model. Now notice it's a hierarchy, from your mission at the top all the way down to your results at the bottom. And here's the secret. To fix a problem on a lower level, you have to work on the level above it. For instance, if you don't like your results at level 6, just trying to change your actions at level 5 is a grind. It's way more powerful to upgrade your capabilities at level 4, or even better, change your beliefs at level 3 about what's even possible. Real, lasting change always flows from the top.
All right, so as we're getting ourselves aligned internally, we need a way to deal with big, hairy, audacious goals without getting totally overwhelmed. That's where chunking comes in. You know the old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time? Well, that's chunking. It's the skill of breaking a massive project down into small, manageable pieces. It's the practical tool that connects your big vision to your daily to-do list. And the final piece of our CORE foundation is cycling. Look, life isn't a straight line. It has rhythms, it has seasons. Cycling is about honoring that reality. There are times for a hard push, for growth, for what we call momentum. And then there are times to consolidate, to build systems and create stability or maintenance. The master business leader knows which cycle they're in and what's required of them.
And that idea of cycles is the perfect bridge to our next section: momentum. You've done the internal work. You've built that solid CORE. Now, it's time to light the fuse. This is all about breaking inertia, pulling yourself out of that state of drift and creating that powerful, directed drive that makes you feel absolutely unstoppable.
So here are those two master cycles again, side by side. The momentum cycle is for the pioneers, the visionaries. It's about progress, and it's okay if it's a little chaotic. The maintenance cycle is for the operators, the ones who create systems and make the trains run on time. It's about stability. Here's the thing. You're not one or the other. A truly unshakable business needs both. The trick is knowing when to hit the gas and when to focus on building a stronger engine.
So how do you actually manufacture momentum when you feel stuck? You follow these exact 6 steps. You start by admitting you're in a state of drift. Then you have to give yourself permission to dream again. That dream has to catch fire and become a burning desire. But here's the turning point. Step 4. You have to let yourself get disturbed. You have to feel the pain of the gap between where you are and where you want to be. That pain is the fuel that leads to a real, no turning back decision. And only then do you unlock unstoppable drive. There are no shortcuts.
Okay, so you've built your inner COR. You've lit the fire and created momentum. Now what do you do with all that energy? See, momentum without direction is just chaos. So the next stage, mastery, is all about channeling that incredible drive into the 5 specific areas that will actually move the needle in your business.
And according to the Unshakeable Path, all the complexity of running a business can be simplified down to just 5 areas. That's it, 5. If you can take all that drive and focus it on achieving mastery in these 5 domains, you will, by definition, build an unshakable business.
And here they are. First, outcomes. Being absolutely relentless about results, not just activity. Second, leadership. Going beyond just managing people to actually inspiring them to execute the vision. Third, creating a sales culture where revenue generation is a predictable system, not a random accident. Fourth, standards, defining what excellence looks like in your company and never ever compromising on it. And finally, progress, building a culture where everyone is always asking, how can we make this better?
Now, within that pillar of leadership, there's a really powerful, more advanced concept called the qualified champion. The idea is that the best leaders are more than just bosses, they are champions for their people and their mission. But they're qualified, meaning they have the skills and character to back up the cheerleading. It comes down to 4 things: clarity of your purpose, courage to act on it, capability in your skills, and genuine concern for your people. Becoming this is the next level of leadership.
All right, this is the moment we've been building towards. We've done the deep inner work with core, we've learned how to ignite momentum, and we've identified the 5 areas of mastery to focus on. Now we get the playbook, the 11-step business blueprint that pulls it all together and turns all this theory into day-to-day execution. And this is what it looks like when the rubber meets the road. This isn't about just having nice ideas in a notebook. It's a structured process for getting everything out of your head and onto paper in a way that's organized, prioritized, and, most importantly, actionable. This is the bridge from dream to done. Let's walk through the first 6 steps. You start with a no BS reality check. Where are you really at in those 5 areas of focus? Then you reclaim your power by setting 5 specific outcomes for each of those 5 areas. That's 25 crystal clear targets for your business. Step 3 is about ruthless focus. Purge, plan, prioritize around your top 3 resources. Step 4 is getting to the core of what really matters: your mission, your ideal client. Once that's clear, step 5 is to build a revenue machine, a predictable system for growth. And step 6 is to define excellence and make it your company's DNA. Now for the back half, which is all about scaling and making this last. Step 7 is to engage skillfully by mastering high-level communication. Step 8 is about becoming a force for change by mastering the factors that drive long-term success. Step 9 is where you raise the bar with measurable standards for everything, because what gets measured gets managed. Step 10 is to stop shooting in the dark by focusing on the key levers that actually scale your profit. And finally, step 11 is how you keep it unshakable, mastering that rhythm of growth and stability for the long haul. And there it is. We have walked the entire path, from the deepest inner work on your personal COR, all the way to the most practical steps of the business blueprint. Becoming unshakable isn't a single destination you arrive at. It's a continuous process of integrating these ideas, of cycling through them again and again to find your next breakthrough.
You know, this quote from Spencer Combs himself really says it all. This is a never-ending process. It was never developed with the thought that life would ever really be mastered. This isn't a program you finish and get a certificate for. It's a way of operating. The goal isn't to master life. The goal is to keep growing, to keep engaging with the process, and to keep creating your next breakthrough. At the end of the day, building an unshakable business is really about integrating who you are with what you do. For anyone who's ready to go deeper on this journey, all of this source material from Spencer Combs is where you can continue. So the real question isn't just, what's your next step? It's who do you need to become to take it? Thanks for joining me.